The purpose of this video is to show faculty members how to import the core rubrics or import core outcomes into assignments within a course. We will also take a look at how the scoring of these work. First, I'm going to go into my course. I have created assignments to address the most likely situations UTPB faculty are likely to have in their course. The first assignment is a Word document submission which has an existing rubric attached to it. Currently, I'm in my modules view. If I click the assignment, we can see that it already has a rubric. Know that you cannot add another rubric to an existing rubric at the time of this video. So what do we need to do? If we click on the pencil to edit the rubric, and we click on Find Outcome, we can see that there are no outcomes. What we will need to do is import the outcomes that have been provided to us at the account level. When you hear the terminology at the account level, please understand that in Canvas it means something that is available to all users who belong to that account. In our case, everyone who belongs to UTPB and can edit a course can have access to these outcomes. I'm going to click Cancel. Let's go up to the Outcomes item in our course navigation. We can see that I have no outcomes in my course at this time. Click on Find and then open Account Standards, University of Texas Permian Basin, Core Outcome Group. If I was assessing teamwork with my assignment, I would open the Teamwork folder. These 5 items with the target and arrow icon mean that these items are outcomes. What I want to do is import each one of these, so I'm going to click on the outcome, click Import, and then OK. This is what I will see. I want to repeat this process for the next 4 items. Now that I have all 5 items imported, we need to add them to our existing rubric. Let's go back to the assignment. I click on Modules, then the assignment, and then I will click the pencil tool on the existing rubric. Now when I click Find Outcome, I see my 5 outcomes are available to me. I click on Teamwork, Contribution, and it opens. Pay special attention to this checkbox. If you do not intend to have this outcome add points to the student's assignment for scoring purposes, ensure that the Use This Criterion for Scoring box is not checked. Once it's set up the way we want, we can click Import. Notice that it has now been added to the bottom of my rubric. However, the total points are still 10 because the added outcome is not being used for grading purposes. Now I'll go ahead and import the other 4 outcomes into my course. Scoring is very easy and familiar since we are already accustomed to working with rubrics in our course. I go into SpeedGrader and click View Rubric. I can move the rubric tools where it's comfortable to view. Then I can do my scoring. If I need to, I could actually have outcomes which are markedly different than the grade the student received on the paper. For instance, an unlikely situation is the student gets a score really low on the first 2 criteria, but for whatever reason did well where it concerns the outcome criteria. Since the outcomes do not affect the grading in this instance, there is no problem. The upside to doing it this way is that the outcome performance will now show for the student whenever an account level report is run. Now let's take a look at the easier situation. If we are not already using a rubric, we can import it. Let's go back to our assignments page. I'm going to click on Assignment Without Existing Rubric. This also is an online Word document submission. I'm going to click Plus Rubric. Then I will come down and click Find a Rubric. Your list will definitely be different than mine. If I scroll all the way to the bottom of the list, I see University of Texas Permian Basin. I'm going to click it. Let's say for this one I need to use the critical thinking rubric. I select it and select Use This Rubric. We can now see the rubric has been imported into our course. If I do not want to use it for assignment grading, I will want to click the pencil and ensure that the Use This Rubric for Assignment Grading box is not checked. Do not click the Remove Points from this rubric button. This will cause the outcomes to not be correctly tracked by Canvas. When I'm done selecting my options, I click Update. Now if I go into SpeedGrader, my assessment score is still 100 points. This is fine. I will score them as I would normally score them for this assignment. The workflow that is slightly different is that I'm going to open View Rubric. I adjust the size of the window to my liking. Then I simply click in the rubric the points associated with the performance on the outcome. If I'm teaching a face-to-face course, I can still use Canvas and its outcomes feature to help score my students. Let's take a look at how that works. Let's open up this assignment so we can look at the details. Likely, it's going to be set to submitting on paper. Now this could be a math assignment, an English assignment, it could be any discipline really. This is just something that would have been turned in physically in class. We're also going to make the assumption that the deliverable was some type of paper. So the first thing we're going to want to do is set up the assignment. I'll click plus rubric, then find a rubric, go to University of Texas Permian Basin, and we'll do social responsibility. Next, click use this rubric. Now we kind of have a couple options here. If we're teaching a face-to-face course which makes use of Canvas, and particularly the gradebook in Canvas, we can proceed with using SpeedGrader. We will simply give the student a score, and then click on View Rubric and select their performance on their outcomes. Another scenario might be where Canvas is not being used for anything related to grading, or perhaps not even being used at all. Maybe the situation is you are only wanting to use it to score outcomes. In order to prevent this assignment from showing up as a grade in the student's gradebook, we will need to edit it. So I'm going to click on Edit, and then I'm going to click the drop-down for Display Grade As, and then select the option Not Graded. I will put 0 points in it as well, although this isn't scored anyway. Then I'll click Save. If I go into the gradebook, I can see that the assignment does not show up. It will also not show up on the student's side, so they will not even know it's there. Although the assignment is set up, there is still something else we're going to want to do. One of the requirements of the core system is that the student's outcome also have their associated artifacts. The best way to do this is to make a scan of all these submissions, add them to a zip file, and upload them to the files area of the course. If I click on my files area, you can see I do have an assignment3 artifacts.zip file. Please note, should you happen to be using a course that gives direct access to the files area for students, it's important to make sure that you have unpublished or turned off visibility in student files. My recommendation is always to leave the files area disabled in the course navigation, and then provide links to the files the students may need from an overview page inside the course modules. That's the situation in this course. I'm going to go back over to my assignments area. I'm going to go to Assignment 3 and edit the assignment. In the assignment description, I am going to type the name of the artifacts, so somebody in the future can find the artifact associated with the outcomes for this assignment. I will type in artifacts or in assignment 3 artifacts.zip in course files area. This way there's no questioning what the name of the item is I'm looking for and where it's located. This greatly helps in case a faculty member has left the institution or for a course which is archived, etc. This concludes the steps involved in importing outcomes in Canvas. If you have any questions about adding outcomes or account level rubrics to your course, please contact the Falcon Online department. And as always, Falcons up!